sure you didn't hear the comments of the other guests. You've made very valid contributions to the conversation, and a number of the points that you have raised will form the crux of issues that we'll take on further in the course of this interaction. Let's bring in now the SSG to the Niger State government. We earlier introduced him. That's Ibrahim Matane. But Ibrahim Matane, what is the situation report with regard to the implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Plan in your state?
Well, thank you very much. Let me join my colleagues, in this conversation, and to say that Niger State only applied, to be, a participating state, under the National Livestock Transformation Plan. We are not yet, picked, as one of the major implementing states. However, on our own, we believed, His Excellency, the Governor of the state, believed that, livestock subsector is a very, significant sector that can transform, the economy of the state, and of course, support the mitigation of, the farmer-herders conflict. Now, Niger State has an endowment, which is land. We are about 10% of Nigeria's land mass. Of course, a large chunk of it is actually arable. And of course, we are also lucky to have had about 22 grazing reserves. One of the celebrated grazing reserves is the Bobby Grazing Reserve, which is about 36,000 hectares. This grazing reserve has had pastoralists on it. And of course, but had been abandoned for a very long time, because this reserve was identified way back in the 60s, and nothing tangible had actually happened there until the government of Alhaji Abubakar Sani Bello came in and wanted to put in, reinvigorate the place, reactivate it, and of course rehabilitate the whole of the grazing reserve. As of today, the reserve has already been surveyed. There are 9 dams in it, and of course, with the partnership of Central Bank, we are able to bring in about 5 companies that are working with pastoralists. The Freslad, Capina, Wamco is there, Hell Consortium is there, Irish Dairy is there, Chi Limited is there, and of course, even the government itself has taken, a portion of, the grazing reserve, and of course, putting in infrastructure. And what we have done is really not to talk about this talked about putting in framework and all of this. We just went straight, and today, what you have in Bobby Grazing Reserve is available pasture and water. And basically, this is what pastoralists require. And of course, they begin to see the practical reality of settling down, because they have easy access to pasture. We have even access pasture, and what the companies are doing is to develop silage bunkers. In one of the 2-3 companies have already developed bunkers. They have harvested this pasture and then putting it into silage. And of course, we have provided veterinary services within the reserve. We have also provided some major infrastructure, so that the pastoralists will be attracted to permanently settle down. And of course, they work hand in hand with farmers that are already also are living on the reserve. And as of today, we have estimated over 4,000 of these pastoralists within the reserve, and we believe that they are all doing their businesses. In the past, some months ago, they never believed that this is actually going to work. But when they saw pasture, they've seen water, and I think they are beginning now to settle down to take advantage of this major ingredient for development of the livestock. And also, as a state, we are putting in money to also identify and transform other grazing reserves. We have identified 5 grazing reserves, and we have developing them. We have surveyed them. We are bringing in the same infrastructure of water and pasture, and we are making a lot of progress on this. And we are really happy that the Central Bank has provided this support. We want to see how Niger State becomes a hub, for livestock development, beyond what is currently going on, under the National Transformation Livestock Transformation Plan. And of course, all this we are doing, with the shared vision that someday we will see an end, to this farmers-herders conflict. We will see and generate, a new generation of commercial livestock farmers, in the state. So that, that is the vision. And of course, in doing that, we would continue to, mitigate, this farmers herders conflict. And of course, we know that, the National Livestock Transformation Plan, the pilot states are selected based on severity, of this conflict. But we also have, a perspective that indeed, where you also have less severity of this conflict, you can develop the infrastructure, for pasture and for water, so that Fulanis and pastoralists cannot necessarily move, from north, to middle belt, to the southern part of the country, because we have enough land. All we need to do is actually develop this land, provide pasture, provide water, and that's all, these pastoralists, require. And they don't need, to really, be going, back and forth, based on the seasonality, the rainy season, and the dry season, within the country. And this is what we are doing, and I think we are making a whole lot of progress on it. Very soon, we'll be inviting Mr. President, to really come and see what we're doing, with the Bobby Grazing Reserve. Thank you.
That's actually a very interesting development.
Yeah, that's the
Niger
SSG.
State, where we have the Secretary of State government in the place. First, sir, you actually gave us a very important analysis on what your state government is doing with respect to putting grazing reserves back into action, and of course letting us know that activities are ongoing in the reserve areas, where you have mentioned. Now, let us know what should other state governments do, in your opinion, to see how they can, kickstart, their own activity based on what you have, told us. Because some governors have keyed into this project, but they have not really shown any sign of adequate implementation of, the program, which is already articulated, during the National Economic Council meeting held in 2019. Now, what can state governments do that you did? How would they begin? Let us know how, all the efforts that you made to be able to get to where you are today.
Well, thank you very much. One is for the governors and the stakeholders to have the vision that they actually want to develop the livestock, sector. And of course, secondly, you don't wait, on a federal program because of the way our structure works. You have to begin to put in, the little resource that you have in order for you, to go on to develop, the sector. Now, of course, we have studied the National Transformation Plan, very good, and we just picked, quite a few areas that we believe that we can quickly domesticate and actually practicalize. And that's exactly what we have done. Of course, one of it is that for you to really, go into the development, you have to provide, infrastructure within the grazing reserves. And of course, what are these infrastructures? Simple. You must have, water supply. So if there are dams that are there, you need to desilt them. Like somebody has said, this grazing reserve have been abandoned for decades. So you need to quickly move in, rehabilitate the existing infrastructure. Two, of course, you need to, develop the land where you're going to provide the pasture. And because the pastoralist will not remain, on the reserve if there is no pasture. So it's up to you to quickly begin to do these two things together. Develop the pasture, provide water. Once you have done that, then you have now begun to, see how the pastoralist, perception, changes. Because in our own case, it was also gradual. We had to show that actually pasture exists and water exists before the pastoralists become, very, humble to say that, yeah, we actually can stay. The second part, of course, is to provide veterinary services. And this you have to put in place. It does not cost too much. And of course, all of these are not really rocket science. There are things that, you just need to be committed to. You don't spend billions. No. You can start small and gradually upscale. And that's exactly what we have done. We have pool of, technical experienced, livestock officers, veterinary doctors, many of them wanting to actually, align, with this development, and that's exactly what they have been doing. For the companies that have come in, we clearly, define how they are going to, use the land, for them to partner with pastoralists. For instance, if you are allocated, 5,000 hectares, 2/3 of that must be devoted, to, development of pasture. And then 1/3 is where you're going to put your infrastructure, put your animals. And of course, we have not gotten the buy-in, of the pastoralists. They are going to pay for pasture, but they're not going to pay with their own money. They're going to pay, with milk. So you go and you collect, certain, quantity of pasture. You also, the company take the milk and then, take it, as part of the payment for pasture. And they are very happy about it. They have already formed cooperatives and they have seen this working. And now why I said we need to go beyond just, the theory part of it is this. We brought in animals, and within a very short time, the pastoralists have seen the difference between the buffalo that they were grazing all over the place with one that has become sedentary, fed on napier grass and bracharia and gamba. And they could easily see within a matter of days there has been difference in the weight, of these animals. And these are the practical ways of actually, extending, the improvements that we are making, for them to see. And believe me, they're very happy. And we are doing all of this, not that there are no challenges. One of the major challenges is that, of course, the pastoralists still split their heart, thinking that, well, if anything happens, I still have my heart outside. And then when things, begin to improve, they bring them in. So, and if you are bringing in your heart, it's like you are also, endangering the ones that are within, the reserve, as a result of diseases that they may be carrying, all over the place. Secondly, of course, there are security threats. Now, because we are going to have a concentration of large, population of, animals, the cattle rustlers are always targeting, the reserve. And so we have to build a security architecture around the reserve. And of course, this is not easy, but because we have to remain resilient, because we believe, this is doable, and this is the way, we have been going about it. And of course, we're happy that people who come, some states, have actually visited the reserve, and they have seen what the wonderful thing that is going on, and they're going back to see how they can begin to, to implement the same thing. Of course, we do sensitization, education, communication, and then the pastoralists are beginning to see that, look, they have no business, moving up and down, because what they are looking for, in other states is automatically here. So I think we should, focus more. We need to be very rapid, about, the livestock development in a way that, people can be well persuaded that actually, ranching, modernization, is doable within the shortest time. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Ahmed Matane, SSG to Niger State. I just wanted to pop this question to you as well. In terms of sensitization and education, again, these are components of the livestock transformation plan. As SSG, how much of a role do you see the Nomadic Education Commission playing in all of this, assuming that commission is still functional?
Well, the primary objective of the commission is to actually educate, the pastoralists, give them some Western education, give them some skills. But we know that because again of the structure we operate, the commission is very ineffective in a way. What we only do is to actually, bring in our extension workers who are specialized in livestock extension workers to work with these pastoralists. But believe me, we have put up schools. We have put up, primary schools. We are building up secondary schools, and we have seen, the pastoralists really key into this. Believe me, when you go there, you see young children of pastoralists, speaking good English, preparing and then becoming, well educated. You'll be shocked that we can actually achieve this within the shortest time. The second part, of course, is again human development. You need to provide, healthcare facility, for the pastoralists. This we have done. We have deployed, doctors and medical personnel so that they have a sense, of satisfaction that all these other elements are actually there for them, and they can well take advantage, of whatever is available. And this is working because they believe it is real. They can see it, they can touch it. Just about a week ago, within the shortest time, we have been able to extend one of the dams to about 7 kilometers, so that we can be able to harvest sufficient water, so that during the rainy season we can harvest water. During the dry season we can actually use the water to irrigate this pasture. And of course, there are so many things you can do within the shortest time. But I know that our drive, and this is usually will take so long time, 1 year, 2 years, and you really don't see anything tangible. And we believe that we need to depart from that trajectory. We need to be very practical. We need to be very rapid for us to arrest the current national difficulty, national challenge for farmers' hardest conflict. Thank you.
Thank you. Special assistance to the Vice President on Agriculture. We thank you for coming this morning. Professor Garba Hamidu Sharubutu, Executive Secretary, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, ALCN, thank you so much. Via Zoom from Gombe, we had Mieti Ala, Cattle Breeders Association Secretary, Alhaji Othman Ngezama, thank you indeed. And of course, from Mina, we had the Secretary to the State Government of Mina, Ms. Alhaji Ibrahim Matane. We also like to thank you for your contribution this morning. Well, and that will be it for this today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria. We thank you for joining us, and of course do again tomorrow when we return with a fresh edition of the program. My name is